Hey! Hey! Give me all your money.
Oh, what? Who is that?
Doesn't matter who it is.
Directed by Josh Trank and written by Max Landis, Chronicle is a 2012 sci-fi action film that follows three high schoolers documenting their newly acquired superpowers on home video. Set in Seattle, the film opens with Dane DeHaan's Andrew Detmer, a shy and isolated high school student living with his abusive father and dying mother, whom he spends most of his time taking care of. Lacking friends, Andrew hitches rides to school with his cousin and big brother figure Matt, a pseudo-intellectual played by Alex Russell.
Basically, human beings have to recognize themselves as beings of pure will. All emotional and physical desires can never be fulfilled.
Rather than staying home and dealing with his father, Andrew decides to head to a party with Matt and his new camera. At the urging of the popular kid, Michael B. Jordan and Steve Montgomery, the pair accompany him to a cave entrance in the nearby woods, where odd sounds can be heard reverberating from below. Heading underground to investigate, the trio encounter a glowing crystalline structure surrounded by shifting branches.
Changing colors!
Although the origin of the crystal in the cave is never explained within the movie, Chronicle's screenwriter, Max Landis, offered his personal backstory during a panel at a 2013 Kamikaze pop culture convention in Los Angeles. During the panel, Landis described the glowing crystal as a MOGO, short for Massive Omnivorous Geodesic Organism. In the universe of Chronicle, these MOGOs were immense, somewhat sentient organisms resembling landmasses that existed nearly 4 billion years ago during the Eoarchean era. With the Earth covered in lava and in the early stages of forming a crust, these MOGOs would slowly move using electromagnets, seeking out proteins and minerals to grow. As the years toiled on, they were pushed closer to the Earth's core, diminishing their access to food. To reach nutrients, they would use electromagnetic pulses to create tunnels, attracting mammals with a distinct vibration and tone. Once within the distance of their influence, these animals would become drones of sorts, retrieving further nourishment for the MOGO.
Changing colors!
When Matt, Andrew and Steve go into the cave and discover the MOGO, it's far from healthy, having been deprived of resources for so long and forced even further towards the surface. As they inspect it and the MOGO begins the process of turning them into food-seeking drones, it dies, unleashing its remaining electromagnetic energy and leaving the trio with various psionic powers. In this way, the MOGO has no ulterior motives other than survival. As such, the powers bestowed upon the main characters are neutral, intended for neither good or evil exclusively, just as a way for it to preserve its essence.
Do you ever think about, doing more with it?
Not really. Why? What else is there?
After coming into contact with the glowing crystals in the cave, all three friends begin to experience unusual abilities, starting with a lowly form of telekinesis. In their initial experiments, they test their powers by throwing baseballs at each other, attempting to stop the momentum using the power of their minds alone. During some of their harmless pranks, they also manipulate small metallic items like silverware and diner cards, and remotely turn on electronic devices. Even in these preliminary stages, it's obvious that Andrew has a better grasp over his abilities, often outperforming both Steve and Matt, perhaps as a result of his deep emotional stress. In addition to moving items around with their mind, they're also capable of flight, initially testing the waters with some low-height levitation. This ability seems to come from a combination of self-telekinesis as well as modifying the electromagnetic field beneath their feet, as seen when Andrew musters up the courage to take his first leap. With enough practice, they're soon proficient enough with their ability to fly thousands of feet in the air, soaring through the clouds at immense speeds. However, after a close call with a passenger airline, they try to keep the Superman-style antics to a minimum. In addition to telekinesis and flying, their powers also provide some defense, with the teens capable of producing incredibly resilient electromagnetic barriers around their bodies. This is first discovered when the guys smash forks against their hands in a diner to find that the metal bends before breaking their skin. According to Andrew, the ability is performed by intensely concentrating on the area you wish to defend, then imagining an impenetrable barrier around it.
Open fire!
one of the lesser used psionic powers is that of molecular combustion, essentially changing structures at their atomic level, resulting in a massive explosion. As the most powerful of the three, Andrew is the only one to display this ability, first seen when he causes the hospital room to erupt during his father's visit, which local news outlets mistakenly and understandably report as being a bomb explosion. Finally, the last power bestowed upon the boys offers a more utilitarian benefit, with the trio getting nosebleeds that indicated when one of them was either stressed or exerting their powers.
What happened?
It just started out of nowhere.
After escaping from the cave relatively unharmed, Andrew, Matt and Steve begin to document their newfound abilities. Over the next few days, the guys continue to practice by pulling pranks on folks around town, but things take a dark turn when Andrew uses his powers to send a tailgating truck careening over a bridge.
Whoa! Andrew! Oh, shit! What the hell did you just do?
Disturbed by Andrew's lack of remorse, Matt and Steve set some ground rules for their abilities, swearing to never use them on humans, in public, or while angry. And despite the troubled beginnings, the trio continued to bond over their shared powers, with Steve and Andrew confiding in each other about familial problems. Unfortunately, Andrew's home life continues to worsen as his mother grows sicker, prompting yet another attack from his father. This time, however, Andrew retaliates with his powers and takes to the skies, hovering in a literal rain cloud of depression. When Steve arrives to calm Andrew down, he becomes filled with anger and accidentally strikes Steve down with a freak lightning bolt. Following the death of Steve, things begin to spiral out of control. To help pay for his mother's expensive medical treatment, Andrew disguises himself in his father's old firefighting gear and begins to burglarize the city. Now considering himself an apex predator, he begins developing a complete lack of regard for the lives of those around him. Unfortunately, while robbing a gas station, a misfire from the clerk's shotgun causes an eruptive explosion, leaving Andrew in a comatose and severely burned state. When his father arrives at the hospital and informs him that his mother had died, Andrew completely loses control and begins to lay waste to the city. Sensing that his cousin has crossed into supervillain territory, Matt arrives and does his best to hedge the damage. Ultimately, he's forced to kill Andrew by impaling him with a piece of a nearby statue, ending his reign of terror. In the final scene of the film, Matt takes Andrew's video camera to the mountainous regions of Tibet, where he often dreamed of visiting, and creates an impromptu memorial site before promising to use his powers for good.
I lost control and I'm so sorry. This thing is just becoming a part of me now.
With that being said, I'd love to know your thoughts about the film, so please share them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, support the channel on Patreon, come join our regular streams on Twitch, and be part of the public Film Comics Explained Discord server. Links in the About Me and description below. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
The lion does not feel guilty when it kills a gazelle. You do not feel guilty when you squash a fly.